Hi, I'm Dr. Lisa Wilcox, and welcome to your self-care tutorial for clamshells. So this exercise is very, very popular in PT world, and the reason that we do this exercise is to engage the gluteus medius. So the gluteus medius helps with literally everything. I have a lot of other videos already about gluteus medius activation, so I'm not going to go too in depth with about the muscle and what we need it for, but I want to show you how I like people to do the clamshell exercise. Now, this exercise is so easy to do poorly and to compensate and to use all the other muscles that have been wanting to do the work for the gluteus medius this whole time. So please, please, please pay a ton of attention to your form. It's so important for this exercise, and so I really want you to think about it as you're going and make sure that if you're starting to feel like you're losing your form, if you're getting so fatigued in the gluteus medius muscle that you can't do anymore, or if you're starting to feel it in other areas, especially like the quads and the hip flexors usually like to kick in a lot, maybe even down in the hamstrings here. If you're starting to feel it really fatigue in those areas, that means you're not doing it correctly. So if any of those things happen, please stop, reset, and maybe start again, or flip to the other side to give that side a break, and then come back to it again for another set. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna lay all the way down on your side. Now you can have a pillow here to support your head. I'm just gonna sit like this so that I can see the camera. So you want to have your knees slightly bent, and the knees are going to be slightly in front of you. So if you're way back here and straight, you're not going to be able to get that gluteus medius as much, but also if you're curled way up here, also not going to be able to get it. So try to come like somewhere right in the middle and test it out. So start by squeezing your heels together like so. And you want to keep your heels squeezed together the whole time if you can. That's going to keep you in a better alignment. Then the biggest thing that I want you to pay attention to is where your top hip is. So we want you to roll forward slightly. So that means that your top hip is slightly forward from your top shoulder. So if they're directly in line, that's okay. If you can't get a little bit forward, it can feel a little funky to be in that position, but the number one thing that we want to avoid is your top hip rocking back, because if it rocks back, then you're just using your hip flexors. And that's probably what's been doing most of the work anyways, which is why your back probably doesn't feel very good, or your hip doesn't feel very good, or your balance is off. It's because these guys are doing all the work and not allowing this to do what it's meant to do. So keep your top hips slightly rolled forward, squeeze those heels together, and then lift your top knee. Now, you can probably see my top knee is not going very far because I am engaging that gluteus medius, but if I lifted any farther than that, I would start rocking back and getting more of these muscles in. So a lot of people, when they do this exercise, they try to get as high as they can. To me, that is not the goal. The goal is to keep your heels squeezed together, keep this hip slightly forward so that it's not rocking back, and then you lift until you really, really feel this muscle that's like, if this is the top of your hip, it's slightly behind. I don't know, it's pretty much like a hand's width behind the top of your hip right here. And so as you're doing this, squeeze those heels together, lift that top knee, like you should be able to feel that muscle contract under your hand. Now, if you're not feeling it contract, and if you're feeling muscles like everywhere else working to do this exercise, you should probably go back to one of my previous exercises where I show how to do easier versions of getting this muscle to really activate. So by the time people are doing clamshells, I expect that you can activate this muscle. If you can't, that means we need to go back to some more basic exercises, because this exercise, like I said, it can go wrong really fast. So for me, I'm doing this right now. My heels are squeezed. I'm lifting my leg up without letting my hip rock back and open up. So I'm keeping it here. Now you can tweak it a little bit. Everybody's different, right? We're all built differently. So if you're like, I want to bring my knees up a little bit farther and see how that feels. And then see if you can feel it back here in your glute. If you come back a little bit farther back that way, squeeze those heels together. See where you can feel it in your glute. Now, for me personally, putting my legs back so that there's less of an angle here at my hip, I can feel that more in my glute. So for me, that's where I would stay and do this exercise. But just remember, you are your own person and you are the only one that knows how you feel. So listen to your body and tweak it a little bit. There's definitely no one exact right position for this exercise for everybody. Now, the only thing is though, again, what I want you to watch for, do not let this top hip roll back and keep your heels squeezed together. That's it. So I usually have people now, if you're starting at the very beginning of this exercise and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm already dying. I can't hardly lift my leg up. Every time I try to lift, I rock back and start using these other muscles, then you're done with that side. So that might only be 3 to 5 repetitions if you're just starting. My goal for people is to get to 3 sets of 20 repetitions on each side. So I personally like to do 20 on one side and then flip over, do 20 on the other, flip back over, 20, 20, 20, 20. So that you're letting one side rest a little bit. Now you'll also notice though that once you start fatiguing this muscle out, when you flip onto the other side, even though it's on the bottom, it has to work too. So you're going to feel it a little bit more as you get further along in your sets with this exercise. So again, this is also about the speed that I like to do. I like to make sure that I can really feel this muscle kicking in up here. If you're flopping down, we definitely don't want that. We want control throughout the whole motion. And then the other thing is none of this fast stuff, because see, it's like my whole body is doing it. It's not actually getting just where we want it to. So please pay attention to your body. Only do as many reps as you can with good form. Try to do 3 sets, but if today or if that day is not the day for 3 sets, do 2, do 1. Just try to get this muscle engaged. So that's your clamshell exercise. Please comment below if you have any questions, and I hope that you have a wonderful day.